when we went over there, I said, hey, I assume we're taking the oil. Are we taking the oil? You know, in the old days, you had a war. You ever hear the expression, to the victor belongs the spoils? I said, if we leave it, take the oil. And I come out, front page news, oh, Trump is a horrible human being. He wants to take the oil from a sovereign country. Sovereign, give me a break. You see the people ripping off sovereign.
What's going on, y'all? Happy Friday to everyone. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I took a little bit of time off to spend with family, but as we all know, the news waits for nobody, and so we've got a lot of stuff to get into. Before we do, make sure you do like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, it tells YouTube to put this video out to more people who like this kind of content, and subscribing helps me grow the channel. Again, it's 100% free and it means the world to me. Okay, let's get into it. So, as we all know, Trump has been illegally bombing fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela. This is totally illegal under international law. This is an act of terrorism. It's an act of war. They don't have congressional consent. And so the reason why they say, obviously, is they're claiming narco-terrorists, whatever that means. It's total bullshit, okay? They're warmongering. They're trying to start a war with Venezuela. And the reason that you know that is I think they bombed like 22 fishing boats now or something like that. And of the few people that have survived, it's been like 80 something people that have been killed so far from these bombing campaigns. Of the few people that have survived, they haven't taken them into custody. They haven't arrested them for drug trafficking or anything like that because they're not actually trafficking drugs. So the real reason that Trump wants to go to war with Venezuela, one, is it's a distraction, and two, he admitted it last time around. He said he wanted to take the oil, for those of you who remember in the first Trump administration. And Trump still wants to steal the oil because Venezuela has the largest oil reserves of any country in the world. And just like George W. Bush did back in 2003 with the invasion of Iraq, he claimed, oh, it's weapons of mass destruction, but really it was about the oil. Now they're just admitting it. This is jaw-dropping. So let's take a look at this clip from Fox Business real quick, and then I'm going to react.
Love to see a change in government. My wife's from Nicaragua. We know how terribly the dictators there rely on Venezuelan oil. But at the same time, a lot of Americans don't want actual U.S. participation in regime change in Venezuela. They would much prefer the Venezuelans to do it on their own. Do you think the pressure that Maduro has received will force him to leave on his own?
Oh, I think Maduro is not Fidel Castro. Maduro is not a brave boy. So now that he has understood that he is on that very nefarious list of the terrorist organization, that the airspace above Venezuela has been closed off and the commercial airlines from the United States are not flying, he's understanding that we're about to go in. He understands that he has been our enemy for the last 25 years. Venezuela, for those Americans who do not understand why we need to go in, basically for three reasons. You're in Fox Business. Venezuela, for the American oil companies, will be a field day because it will be more than $1 trillion in economic activity.
Okay, so that's incredible. This Republican congresswoman from Florida is basically just saying the quiet part out loud. She's saying that, like, the reason that we want to invade Venezuela is for the oil. Like, at least in 2003, they tried to pretend like, oh, it's because of, Saddam Hussein is a bad guy and he's a brutal dictator. And to some degree, they're doing that with Nicolas Maduro as well. And I'm not here to try and defend Nicolas Maduro as some, great person or whatever. But that's still not a reason to invade a country and steal their natural resources. But she came out and said it. She's just like, well, there's three reasons why. And the first thing she says is we could go in and we can fix the oil pipelines and do all this stuff. But the thing that she points to, and this is so important, is she goes, the oil companies, the American oil companies, could go in and have a field day, and it would be trillions of dollars. And that's the real reason why they're doing this, okay? Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, and the United States wants to be able to steal that. And so that's why they're starting they're trying to start a war by bombing these fishing boats. They're trying to provoke Venezuela. It is completely, utterly disgusting. And guys, remember, this is the peace president, right? This is Trump. I've stopped 8 wars. It's soon to be 9 wars. He hasn't stopped anything, okay? Trump is warmongering all over the world. And at the same time that he's pretending like I'm a great, peace president, a peace candidate, whatever, he's still giving money and weapons to Israel to bomb Gaza. And we also got to talk about how he is completely and totally botching this whole, I'm stopping the war in Ukraine. Even more disgusting. Okay. So I read an article on this as well. This one's from The Guardian. And so it says that Europe breathed a deep collective sigh of relief on Monday as the crisis triggered by Washington's presentation of a new 28-point plan for ending the war appeared briefly to have been stabilized. Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, spoke of substantial progress after U.S.-Ukraine talks in Geneva on Monday night. Vladimir Putin made his countermove, another massive barrage of missile and drone strikes on Kyiv. So it's not going well. And the article goes on to say that, basically Putin's whole plan is to continue bombing because it was never his plan to have a peace deal or a peace agreement. It's ridiculous. What's even more disturbing is that it is very clear that this peace plan, this 28-point peace plan, was written by the Kremlin or by Russia, basically, because it's a total giveaway. And so it's you have in this deal, which Putin said that would be the only way in which they would even consider reasonable. It's Ukraine has to give up territory that they haven't already lost to Russia. It would massively limit the size of their military to under 600,000 troops, I believe it is. It would prevent them from joining NATO. And it's all of it is a complete giveaway to Russia. So the article continues. It says every new initiative from Washington unfolds according to the same pattern, a diplomatic cavalry charge against Ukraine, which Kyiv with other European capitals manages to fend off. They stabilize the situation, but never actually win the battle. This pattern will no doubt persist. And it says, it's tempting to accuse Trump of consistently pushing Russia's terms. He is. But that does not seem to be the whole story. Washington operates on a premise well known to American diplomats. You can't win at negotiating what you have already lost on the battlefield. The White House presumes that it is impossible to force Russia to relinquish the territory that it already controls in Ukraine's south or east. But that's also not what's going on, because they're trying to get even more territory. And let's just remember, that war started because Russia invaded Ukraine, okay? Ukraine is a sovereign country. Russia invaded it, okay? And the reason that they're trying to invade Ukraine is the same reason that the United States is trying to invade Venezuela. They want the natural resources. This isn't some, this isn't some difficult math problem. The problem is that while recognizing this factual reality, Washington does nothing to deter Moscow through words or deeds from thinking that the situation will shift further in its favor in the coming year. Therefore, Putin is convinced that time is on his side, that Ukraine and its partners are approaching exhaustion. His motivation to sign a deal that does not give him the maximum possible gain is close to zero. There may be many attempts to end hostilities, but they will continue as long as Russia's leader remains supremely confident in the outcome. So, why is Trump letting this happen? Why, why is it that we can't manage to stop Russia? Let's remember, Russia's economy is collapsing. They are completely broken. They have spent so much money on this war. And it would be very easy to force Russia into a deal if the president of the United States wasn't compromised by Russia. And I want to get into the email. One of the emails that actually came out from the Epstein estate that leaked said something about like Trump giving a blowjob to Bubba. This was an email that was written from Mark Epstein, who is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, to Jeffrey Epstein. And there was some speculation as to whether or not Bubba was Bill Clinton. And Mark Epstein came out after the fact and said, no, the Bubba in question is not Bill Clinton. But what's important is he didn't deny that this picture exists. And so I have no reason to believe that there's not a picture of really gross, I don't even want to think about it, but there's no reason to not believe that this picture doesn't exist, because I don't think Mark Epstein would lie about anything at this point. So it's important to remember too, when you think about the way that Trump actually handles people like Putin, like Benjamin Netanyahu. These people are they're authoritarians, they are strongmen, and he never has a bad word to say about Vladimir Putin. I wonder why. Maybe it is because Putin's got his balls in a desk somewhere in Moscow. He has a lot of damning evidence on Trump, and that is no doubt the reason why Trump is completely and utterly incapable of actually handling this. And it's the same reason why Trump continues to give more and more and more money and weapons to Benjamin Netanyahu to, continue to do the genocide, to continue to ethnically cleanse Gaza. But the other thing on that note is that Trump and his family and his gaggle of billionaire donors are all very interested in real estate development in the Gaza Strip once it's completely destroyed and they've removed everybody from that area. So really disturbing stuff on both fronts. Again, it makes me laugh so hard that, Trump brands himself as like, I'm the peace president, I stopped 8 wars. He didn't stop any. And I wish to God, whenever he makes this ridiculous claim, that one of the reporters would just say, like which ones? How did you stop them? He loves to take credit for stuff. And because of the fact that the media does such a bad job of pushing back on Trump and just being like, no, you didn't. He just gets away with it. But it's completely ridiculous that this guy is still branding himself as that, as he actively is bombing a country that did not attack us for the sake of stealing their natural resources. All right. I'll keep following this with more developments as they come. Guys, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. Hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend. See you in the next one. Peace.